The African Aerospace and Defense Expo returned this year after taking a hiatus from 2018. The South African Ministry of Defense welcomed international guests, delegates, generals and other defense personnel from the various sectors to a rainy start of the day, which did not seem to deter the opening ceremony from pushing forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you to the 11th edition of the African Aerospace and Defense Exhibition. As you are probably aware, the AAD is an initiative of the Department of Defense and the defense industry, which has been running on for 20 years. It is the largest defense and aerospace exhibition in Africa and takes place every 2 years. The theme for this year is exploring new paths, sharing solutions, and showcasing innovation and capabilities. The AAD seeks to showcase the capabilities of the armed forces, both from South Africa and abroad, and this year will be no exception. This exhibition presents a unique platform that affords visitors from the different countries to interact with hundreds of other exhibitors from the more than 24 countries. It also brings together defense agencies and the defense industry under one roof to reflect on development within the security sector, as well as search for interventions necessary to respond to the emerging challenges and the demands of the future. As South Africa, we view the role of the military in the contemporary context as a developmental instrument, both nationally and continentally. Our view is that safety and security are the key prerequisites for economic growth and development, and that improved security attracts stability and investment. And this in turn encourages economic growth and development and overall peace amongst communities.
Really exciting today to be opening AAD 2022 after 4 years of not having the show. Indeed, I am the youngest Black female Africa Aerospace Defense Exhibition Director on the continent. So it is an exciting experience for me to be putting the show together. It has been a challenge. 2020 we were supposed to host AAD 2020. However, due to the pandemic, we had to defer it, as most global defense exhibitions did also experience due to the pandemic. So for our side, it was quite difficult in trying to put the show together, get the various exhibitors. We've seen a lot of companies close down, we've seen a lot of companies consolidate. When we attend various international delegations, or rather exhibitions, we also then see other shows declining in terms of exhibitors and as well as participation. So one thing that we look for this exhibition is that we are looking to rebuild and regrow the South African defense industry, and also showcase the various capabilities for the industry to the world, as well as inviting various exhibitors from the world to participate. We are excited for this show that we have over 200 exhibitors participating. We are seeing a lot of repeat exhibitors, new exhibitors. For this exhibition specifically, Turkey was our largest exhibitor. They booked over 1,000 square meters and they brought 25 companies, which is the largest AAD has ever seen. So as much as we decline in numbers in terms of exhibitors, we have seen growth in specific countries, exhibitors participating in the show.
We do have companies that are exhibiting for the first time, but what also gives us a bit of happiness and excitement, we have companies that started small and are now expanding their exhibitor footprint. We've got the Turkish government which is by far the biggest exhibitor in this show this year. It is not their first time here, but they've increased their footprint manifold. I think they took about 200 square meters of floor space just for the Turkish country alone, and we are quite excited about that. We do have exhibitors, Profos from Nigeria. It is the first time they are exhibiting at AAD, and we are quite excited because it then diversifies the pool of African companies that exhibit at AAD, and we are an African aerospace and defense exhibition, and for that to be true, we need to have more African countries exhibiting. Sudan is also here. They've also increased their footprint in as far as floor space. What we want now is to deliver customer value. It's to deliver value for money. People pay to come and exhibit at AAD, and for them it's a business decision. They invest so that they get something out of it, and we are now trying to ensure that we turn the interactions that we'll be having into business transactions, into interactions that are going to create value for our exhibitors so that they come back again in 2024 to be with us. So the interest now is shifting into having quality engagements between our clients, buyers and our exhibitors, and that's the main focus from now up until Friday. And then of course on Saturday the open days are for the public. It's to ensure that we bring an exciting air show for the public on display between Saturday and Sunday.
If the industries, as we are experiencing in South Africa, that our defense industry, because of the cuts in the budget spend, you're finding that there are some companies that are closing down. So if we could have investors who could look into these companies, which presents quite mature technologies, and invest even for the export market, there's a huge opportunity there, because our defense technology and defense capabilities, it's fairly matured and is well sought after worldwide. So I think the focus should be there. But we can then facilitate such interactions, and of course if there's an opportunity to tap on the DoD IP, we will then facilitate and seek the necessary approvals. But there's a huge opportunity for investors.
This is a typical military camp. This is made all with defense barriers around, different kind of sizes, different kind of possibilities to manufacture. In this particular case, we have a high wall of 2.9 meters high that protects the military. Even if they want to shoot inside, the defense barriers will absorb the impact of the bullets. Even if a high caliber gun wants to hit the militaries inside, is very difficult, only through the air. So this technology, it's used in our days with the military industry. It's saving lives all over the world, and we are manufacturing this with high standard qualities. Our brand is Basco. We manufacture the defense barriers, the guard posts, the accommodation bunkers, everything developed by us, and it's saving lives all over the world.
We are in maritime, aerospace, defense and energy. So this is the largest aerospace and defense show in Africa, and we are showcasing our capabilities because we package solutions for the international market. So in those four focus areas that I've mentioned. We're very strong in maritime. We've actually built virtually all the ships for the South African Navy that were built in Africa. The biggest one being SAS Drakensberg, the replenishment vessel for the Navy, which is currently sailing now. We built it in the shipyard in Durban. It's the largest shipyard that is currently operational in sub-Saharan Africa. We've also done with the only company that has done the midlife refit for the frigates for the Navy. We've done the strike crafts for the Navy. We're currently building the most sophisticated hydrographic survey ship for the Navy in terms of engineering capability, and we're building it in Durban in our shipyard. The interesting thing about this is that all the artisans and boilermakers and welders working on it are black, and more than 30% of them are black ladies. So the company is a private company, is fully black owned, it's 100% South African, it's 100% indigenous. So that is what we do on the maritime. But because of the experience that we've gained on the maritime in both shipbuilding and ship maintenance, which is a MRO facility that we do repairing, overhauling and maintenance of ships, both naval and commercial, we've also ventured into the defense engineering and systems integration engineering space, where we are developing emerging technologies for arms corps, which we are currently doing right now. We've developed radar technologies that we're currently showcasing. As you can see in the back here, you can even see UAV that is printed by a 3D printer that we own. So these are emerging technologies that we're busy with.
Partnerships are a key driver for the AAD Expo and an important element to lay the foundation for the global defense force sector to improve policies and strengthen relationships.
I've been in South Africa now for 6 weeks as ambassador. It's been a very eventful 6 weeks. 48 hours after my arrival, we welcomed U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken here to South Africa. First time a U.S. Secretary of State has been here in a decade, and we've just completed a very successful visit of President Cyril Ramaphosa to Washington. All of which signifies the incredible importance that the United States places towards the U.S.-South Africa relationship. Clearly recognizes South Africa as a very strategic country, not only in the southern part of Africa, but indeed in the world. And the United States looks forward to strengthening that relationship. We're looking at strengthening across the board. Trade clearly is one of the most important aspects of that relationship. The United States is the third largest trading partner of South Africa. There are over 600 U.S. companies here in South Africa employing some 220,000 people. The revenue those 600 companies represent is equivalent to about 10% of GDP here in South Africa. And we want it to be more. Both because we want to help create jobs here in South Africa and because we want to see American companies be successful here. We are deeply interested in broadening U.S. investment across the board. But I think in particular, we're very interested in doing more in the power sector here. It is clearly a very important role here in South Africa with the challenges they're facing here in power generation. We believe that U.S. companies have particular value add in that area, but also across the breadth in consumer goods, in the creative industry as well. So across the board, we want to strengthen and grow that relationship.
We're looking to strengthen our relations with many allies and partners. So we do that with our Austrian partners, and just like we do here in South Africa. There's a lot that we can focus on, common challenges, common opportunities, and build a common approach. And so really we're starting at the ground up and just trying to strengthen our relationships so we can better understand each other and work towards common solutions. I think there's a lot of opportunities in both the commercial and the military sector to collaborate and improve both our positions going forward. There's also a lot on the policy side that we can do to create new norms in space that are really haven't been codified yet, that we can work on together. So in space, in the air and on the ground, there are historical norms that we built up across nations as we interact with each other around the world, not just the United States, but all nations. And so in space, we haven't yet codified those norms, and so there's opportunities together with a bunch of allies and partners to develop those norms of behavior in space.
If you've read our strategy document, we talk about disposal of non-core assets. Some of that may be to sell to private enterprise, some of it may be to have some partnerships and so forth. Restructuring Denel entails quite a number of activities. It entails looking at the business model today. As you may know, that we have 6 operating divisions, to look at the revenue that we have against the operating divisions that we have, and to see if that is sufficient, is that a good business model to go forward with. And then following that, to look at the size of the organization in terms of the headcount. Unfortunately, we know that currently there's a There are issues around jobs in the country, but we do have to look at, because it is a cost, we do have to look at the headcount to see if the headcount is sufficient, or do we need to reduce it, or do we need to increase it, and to look at the footprint. You would appreciate that Denel currently occupies quite a footprint. Some of it is leased to our associate companies, some of it is occupied by us. For us to look at that footprint in terms of property, do we need all of that, or can we optimize that property and only occupy that we need for our operations, and then lease out the rest? So those are some of the things that we're looking at. And then obviously we need to grow the top line. I think our top line has taken a beating in the past few years because of some of the challenges that we've had.
The latest one on the energy that we've developed with the only South African company that has patented a battery energy storage system that we have developed in-house. Other companies that have it, actually they got it from their technical international partners. We have developed our own BESS technology that we are currently implementing in KZN with the municipalities, amongst other things. We're currently in talks with Eskom as well with their needs. So what Eskom is currently busy doing is that they've advertised a few tenders as well, because they want a battery storage system in their grid to be able to put power back on the grid, especially during load shedding. So what happens is that the grid will charge the batteries, and then the batteries will store the power, and then when there is load shedding, batteries will release power back into the grid for those 2 hours, 4 hours that is required. So yeah, they're implementing those around the country. So we are participating in that as well.
This is what we call the launch of the OTT group of companies. Only recently, as early as middle of this year, we formed a new group consisting of 3 different companies. The original company, the mother company, is OTT Technologies, company that comes from 1980. But recently, during the COVID period, the company LMT Products went into business rescue, and the owners of our company considered their options, and they decided to buy the company LMT Products. LMT Products is a similar manufacturing company to that of OTT Technologies. In other words, there's a development department of engineers that design and develop new products, and then a manufacturing department. And we brought these 2 companies together now, but with the same products, or rather different products, but in the same product portfolio now. And then only as early as last year, we also acquired the company ADG Mobility. ADG Mobility is an innovation hub, lots of clever engineers that design and develop new products. Not only new vehicles, but also subsystems for vehicles. Typically in the protected environment, where they would design new protected cabs for logistic trucks, for instance. They have a special department looking at 6x6 and 8x8 vehicles. They've already designed and developed such vehicles for the world market. So our new group has got this new product portfolio and product offerings, and that is what we are launching today.
Another integral part of the AAD, other than showcasing investment opportunities and new technologies, is to advance manufacturing capabilities in the value chain.
Part of our responsibility and what is mandated is to develop the local industry. We do that in various ways. We've got incubation. We ensure that the industry is transformed. New entrants, do come in the value chain. We also, with the with the ability and capability to sort of collaborate with the industry insofar as we have partnership on a project by project with various local companies in terms of advancing the technology, and that happens in various forms where we enter into specific MOU agreements and also opening it up and say they must come in and exploit our IP, but all that is conducted in a very structured way. So these are some of the ways and means, and we also collaborate with foreign countries and agencies of government, in terms of the areas of interest, and whatever then revenue that we generate, it gets reinvested in terms of advancing and creating, new industries and job opportunities.
We are known to be the leader in terms of aerospace and defense in South Africa. We would want to continue with that position, but we would want to continue with that position with partnerships and develop a supply chain in the country. I think it also talks to supplier development aspect, which is part of government's policy, is to look at local suppliers, how we can work with them and grow with them, is to also look at international players. I mean, you would appreciate here at AAD, we have OEMs from right across the globe. So we are talking to those OEMs to look at opportunities of taking our product into the export world, or being suppliers to them. So that is part of growing the top line, because we realize that you can't just cut your cost base. You need to. It has to be a combination of the factors. It will be a combination of, depending on what product it would be, because in some instances it would be partnering with the OEMs in terms of their product. If it's that, we will need to do some level of skills transfer. If it's about our product, then it's not necessarily about skills transfer, but it's about, we talk about transfer of technology. We talk about, because this is what the world does, is everybody wants to buy, to be able to do some of their stuff in country, is to look at how we optimize or rather how we capitalize on the footprints that they have to be able to do some of the transfer of technologies that the buyers would look for.
We export almost all our vehicles. We would love our local defence force to buy from us, but we know the situation locally, both in the National Defence Force as well as the police, budget constraints. They can really do with this type of new technology, new vehicles for our own defence force, but our main focus and main market is the export market at the moment. West Africa, we have a wide footprint of our products in West Africa. We have a footprint in the Middle East. We have a footprint in East Africa and in Southern Africa. So our vehicles, both the Puma family of vehicles as well as the LM family of vehicles, are spread across these areas. And then some of the other systems already developed by ADG Mobility is in use in places like North America. And then what you should also know is that OTT Technologies has got a United States footprint, in the sense that together with a US company, we are manufacturing our product, the Puma M36, in the United States for customers also in Africa, but mainly the benefactor is the United States Department of State, and in that regard they would acquire vehicles through that channel, because a big content of the vehicle, engine, gearbox, axles and so forth, are American components.
The Africa Defence Force sector demonstrated their inter-divisional collaboration. The scenario? A plane hostage situation. First flagged by two jets to indicate the plane needs to land. For safety, a drone is used to give the team a better visual of what to expect. A hostage then places a bag outside the plane. The bomb squad is deployed to assess the content of the bag. After the assessment, military personnel and the South Africa Police Special Force unit ascend the plane to secure the situation. As the hostages disembark, the Special Forces escorts the hostages to safety before doing another inspection inside the plane. This demonstration showed how standard operating procedure practiced and applied by the several divisions is of utmost importance to ensure the safety of people. Another key area highlighted during the Expo is the future of the defence sector. The Minister of Defence, Dandi Modise, made it clear the youth and youth development programs should be included to ensure a better future.
The youth is an integral part of AAD. We've got what we refer to as the YDP, Youth Development Program. Over the 5 days, we will be welcoming about 10,000 youth through the gates of Waterkloof. And the main purpose of having those youth is so that they can start familiarizing themselves with the Air Force, with the aerospace and defense environment. At Hangar 5, we've got simulations environment where they could go in, simulate how to fly an aeroplane, simulate how to operate a UAV. In that way, we are hoping that we'll be planting a seed. In 5-10 years' time, they would surely be interested in coming back into the base. The bulk of the youth will be joining us over the Saturday and the Sunday, which is open days, because they are off school on those days. But as you would have seen walking around, the youth, the young kids from grade 7, grade 5 have already started coming through, and we are taking them around the base. And what we are also doing is most of them, we are interacting them with female pilots from the South African Air Force, so that they can also see it is possible to fly. There is nothing impossible about it if you put your mind into it. So, and the minister is very passionate about the youth program that we run here. So it's an integral part of what constitutes AAD.
In terms of 2024, we will obviously have more timing. There was a lot of uncertainty after 2020. So what we did as organizers in 2021, we wanted to host an off-year event called Africa Trade Defense Trade Show. However, due to the pandemic still taking place in 2021, we had to cancel that event. So now we have a 2-year plan, and as I said, industry is rebuilding, re-going, and in the next few years, or rather the next 2 years, when we host AAD 2024, and the dates are 18 to 22, 2024. So we are looking forward to ensuring that we go to various markets, go to various regions, showcase and promote South African companies.